on to the DDA. We're happy to have Robert with us and looking forward to a productive year. So thank you, Robert.
Good morning. Thank you. Nice to be with you.
I can hear him coming.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go.
Going to
I've got the report virtual meeting. And at this time, I will call the meeting to order. And welcome, Robert, to our group. I'd like to ask Nick if he would pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice
for all.
Thank you. That was a little awkward, but okay. I would like to ask if there's any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda. I have one. This came Sunday afternoon after the agenda was out. We have a request for 2 events, so I would like to add that to, I guess probably right under the approval of the minutes. So if we could add that to our agenda. Do I hear a motion to do that?
So made.
Second?
Second.
Dan made the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we will add that to the agenda. Thank you very much. I would like to move to the approval of the minutes for January, February, and March of 2020. I hope you all read them. Corey does an awesome detailed job of our minutes, and we'll be glad to have that down the road, I'm sure. Do I hear a motion?
So made.
Jen moves to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second. Second by Ellen.
Ellen seconds it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the minutes do pass. Thank you. We have on the agenda the consider the resolution 1/2020 for the vendor fees and the business license costs. We had sent a notice to City Council that would be addressing this and coming to some kind of conclusion and sending them a recommendation. We realize that this is not our area of authority, but we do recommend on behalf of the businesses of Woodland Park. And I would go to Tanner with this. He's written a resolution. Tanner?
hey there, Mary Jo and I are sharing computer today. Hi everybody. So the resolution 1-2020 was sent out last night. I apologize for it going out fairly late. It's just a draft. I've never drafted a resolution before. I've never tried. So forgive me. I don't know if any of you have had a chance to read it at all, but it's on the agenda for discussion. Essentially, I tried to capture some facts, information, a little bit of data about the sales tax vendor fee and business license fee, and determine a position of the board, which is the authority hereby determines the reinstatement by the city of the sales tax vendor's fee and the elimination by the city of the business license fee will promote the public health, safety, prosperity, security, and welfare, aid in halting or preventing deterioration of property values or structures, assist with economic restoration and growth, sustain and improve economic vitality, and will be of special benefit to the property within the boundaries of this authority and within the city, and to the occupants and inhabitants thereof. Furthermore, it is the intention of the authority to request a special session with the City Council of the City of Woodland Park for the purposes of recommending reinstatement of sales tax vendor's fee and elimination of business license fee, and to provide to the City Council additional information in support of this recommendation. So that's essentially, well, that's verbatim, the conclusion of the resolution as I have it. The thought being that it would state a position on those two items and make that recommendation to the council, and then request a session with the council to discuss it. So, interestingly, I did find during my research on this, the state of Colorado has last year studied their sales tax vendor fee, came to the conclusion that it is appropriate. However, for businesses with an annual sales volume between $150,000 and $1 million, the actual cost to those businesses for collecting and remitting the sales tax is 13.47%. For businesses with annual sales volume between $1 million and $10 million, that cost is actually 5.2%, and for businesses with annual sales volume in excess of $10 million, the actual cost is 2.17%. The state passed a House Bill 19 something, I don't have my notes in front of me, but causing the state sales tax vendor fee to increase as of January 1, 2020, from 3.33% to 4%. So I thought I'd share that with you as well, as the states recognize these costs are real. They're higher than what they previously thought. They've raised their vendor fee to compensate businesses better for that cost. Now, with that, they also limited the fee that could be paid out to $1,000 per filing. So for larger businesses that collect and remit so much sales tax, that 4% would be equivalent to more than $1,000. The vendor fee to those businesses is being capped at $1,000 per filing.
Well, I think that's some good news that the state is aware of this and how important it is to the small businesses. Comment? Says hearing no comment.
Well, I just have a question. So is this a time to go ahead and approve the resolution and then discuss it with City Council? Or is this a time that we hear some proposals for compromise from Darren? Or is this not the time to do that?
Tanner, go ahead and answer that.
Any of the above. I think that's up to the board, because this was sent out so late last night and that hasn't been sent to the public yet. I would think we want to just discuss it, see if we can come to any consensus at this point around the structure of it. You know, if this draft resolution is anywhere close to right and accomplish, if anyone has recommendations for changes, and then that's it. We move forward. If you want to take more discussion from anybody else, if Darren or the public or whatever, that's totally up to the chair and the board, as far as I'm concerned.
And I want to hear from everybody else, but I would think this is a recommendation that we're making to council. Council has the authority to do what they do. So I don't know, we talked about it some. I think as quickly as we could move through it, I think is the better. Then we can put it to bed and move on to other things.
Well, I
And
think the wording is good. I think the wording of the resolution is good.
I do too, and I agree with it.
Jerry?
Me? Well, I'll tell you what, it's often been said that, this is a very expensive community to do business in, much on a level of Breckenridge or elsewhere where it's pretty much a destination place. There's a lot of other amenities that may justify those expenses. Anything that we can do to lighten the load on the businesses, we should do. It's kind of weird looking at myself talking. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Okay, well, I think wording is good too, and I would like to see us pass this resolution as it's written.
Do you need a motion, Mary Jo?
I would ask for one unless there's more comments. Okay, does Jan make this motion?
Yes.
Okay, the motion is made to accept this as written as a presentation on behalf of the businesses to the City Council of Woodland Park for their decision. A second.
I'll second.
Okay, Jerry. All those, is there any more discussion on? Was that discussion?
No, none for me.
None.
Okay. Okay, then all. Opposed? I heard something. Was that?
Mine, aye.
Pass unanimously, please speak up. Okay, this resolution is passed and will be forwarded to the council on behalf of the DDA and the businesses of Woodland Park.
Thank you, Mary Jo.
Thank you, Jen. Okay, moving on, I had 2 requests for events. Now, these events obviously are going to be up to subject to cancellation, to moving back. It'll depend on how our economy unfolds. We have a request for territory relief days, which will be on Memorial Weekend, Saturday and Sunday. They would like to have it over at the DDA site, just like it is. It would consist of bands and or food and beer and wine. And I'm not sure what else we needed to get it approved before this moves on. And the second one is for an all-natural farmers market starting in July, 2nd and 4th Saturdays through September. And this would be all natural, everything. It would include animals and it would be all natural. Is there any comment on this? These people came forward with these and said, well, it's something we could do that wouldn't cost a lot of money and would give people a reason to come to Woodland Park and give them something to do while they're here. Do I hear any?
Was the first one territorial relief days on Memorial Day weekend?
Yes.
Okay, that's not a good idea because territorial days is in Colorado Springs and people will be going down to that. That's a well-established event.
Yeah, and we have found in the past, a lot of people come up to it because it's gotten so huge. There's not enough parking, and there's so many people that a lot of folks just don't want to go through that. So they come up the hill looking for something else to do. I'm sure it won't be very big, but it will be something.
Okay, I'm not opposed to this. I just wanted to throw that out, that is the, the Territorial Days in the Springs. But I'm not opposed to the event. I didn't mean it to sound like that.
Could I ask who's organizing both of these events? Which group or person?
Myra Papp is one, and Dwayne Garman, he is going to help with some promotion and gathering the fans. And we're not quite sure if this is approved. We'll put more details to it and have more information at
So
our next.
that's for the Territory Relief Days. And what about the All Natural Farmers Market?
Yeah, Myra has already talked to Lori Gloss, and they would be spearheading it with a group of them.
Okay.
And we don't think that this will do much to the land. Just use it as it is. It shouldn't hinder any kind of development or any kind of surveys or any work being done to that property.
Where do they want to hold these two events?
On the Woodland Station side.
Woodland Station, okay. And when would the Natural Farmers Market, when would that start to take place?
Probably after the 4th of July.
And did you say that was on Saturday?
They're talking about Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah. And it
And-
wouldn't start early, and it'd probably last a little bit later, like till 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and give a little more of the traffic going by and people in town something for them to do.
Are we going to give this to them gratis because of the pandemic and whatnot, because of the difficult times?
Well, they had requested that in the beginning, since nothing's really done over there, and since it's, yes, if we could do that just to help boost the economy, that's what this is all about.
Mary Jo, can I make a comment?
Yes, please, Robert.
Well, good morning all, and I'm new to the game, so so I just want to ask a question if I can. That land is, I mean, what would it take to throw down some grass seed, make it so that it was functional for any number of events there over summer? I think with the COVID coming to an end, there'll be a lot of people who will want to come up the mountain. And if we can create a space that's really pleasant for people, that we could attract quite a number of events there over this summer and really draw some revenues into the town.
I think that would be great. And I think the only thing stopping the grass, planting grass, is just the money and someone to do it.
Can I mention something, Mary Jo? It seems like we've gotten a lot of kickback from city council previously about putting any monies into that property. So it's interesting to hear you make those kind of comments, which is encouraging. But I think that, yes, it should be open more up for everyday use. Public come up from Colorado Springs, locals. So yeah, I'm all for throwing in a little bit of grass seed and seeing what we can do.
Well,
Go ahead, Robert.
yeah, I don't know if this is a time to see it, but from what I see, and admittedly, I'm new eyes to council and new eyes to this issue, but it seems like the DDA's already set a plan in motion back in, I believe it was 2016, as a way to create a space down there, given the fact that eventually we'll find a proper use for it, or an ultimate use, not a proper use. I think we can certainly look at a proper use for it now and create a source of attraction to the city and a source of revenues, because the complaint has been not enough parking, et cetera. Well, my question would be, what would it cost to tidy it up? And I understand there's already a road grade or whatever some gravel or something that's waiting to be used. Would any of those things hinder whatever negotiations you have going on with potential investors?
I would say I don't think so. I would refer to George and Michael. If you have any comment on that, would that interfere with what you're doing? George?
Is Mike on the call?
I see his name down here. Michael, are you on there? Michael? He must be muted.
My belief would be that not only would not be a hindrance, it would just be a plus. The more, I remember in my youth, a guy at McDonald's said, "Show me how to get on my parking lot one time and through the drive-through, and I'll make a fortune." And I think this would fall into that category of the more people from Woodland Park, from Colorado Springs, from wherever, that know that that's a source of activity and a place to go, kind of drive up and see what's going on today type of an event, is just a plus. Ultimately, the businesses that would go there are going to be as dependent on traffic as anybody that's on Main Street. So, yeah, I don't think, if you're not doing structures or anything like that, I think that that's a great idea and would work well. Just from my construction experience, I keep watching down here in the Springs where they're going to do the, I forget the name of the new restaurants coming from California. They went out there, did a bunch of work, and then into the winter, they drilled in. You've seen that on the highway projects. It's just a simple tractor, and they drilled in seed, and that stuff is over the winter. It's popped up and growing and looks better than my yard. So I think, if you could go that far, that may just be, I don't know what the steps for that are, but that would really take, as you know, I've built a few houses around Willow Park, and we always try to, we're required to, and then we overdo it. Some of them we seed as many as 3, 4, 5 times. And eventually some of that seed comes up, but it's not the most desirable just to throw it out there. But it's better than not doing it, and it can take. But drilling it in with a tractor or a little piece of equipment pretty much guarantees you're going to get grass.
Good point. Good point. Tanner?
Well, I see we have some comments here from several people. Sally Riley says, "Please contact the planning department regarding PUP application requirements." Debbie Miller asks, "Will Color County Department of Public Health be allowing more than 10 people to gather during Memorial Day?" It's a great question. Mike Williams, "My speaker isn't working, but I absolutely am in agreement with temporary improvements." And let's see it. I wanted to say I'm trying to remain socially.
Okay, I know. Perfect.
I do have one bag of grass seed remaining from last year, so I can get up there and spread that whenever. We do have feature boulders that have been provided by the mine a couple of years ago. Those are stockpiled with the city, along with the asphalt milling from Park Street that we were told we could use for pathways, parking, whatever we need. So those materials are stockpiled in the city's yard, wherever that is. And if we want to use them, my understanding is all we have to do is say so and then make arrangements, either with the city to move those materials and install them, or private contractor.
And I would like to add to that we have railroad ties, 2 bundles of railroad ties and extra track that they gave us with the train, and that was to be used for landscaping, for signage, for any kind of barrier work that would look railroad. So that is available. That's what that is for. We're not getting another railroad car. That's just for landscaping. And maybe this is the time to bring this up. It's spring. We still have trees in Divide that are free. And if we wanted to start planting trees against that trailer park back line, they're still available. That's something that we need to, if that's of interest, decide on right away, because those need to be moved as the staff is moving up the tree, and that's like in the next few weeks. Any comments?
Well, I just make one more comment if I might, Mary Jo.
Uh-huh.
Well, with the whole lockdown that we've seen over the last 6 weeks, I think that putting attention into a project like this for the city could do nothing but stimulate encouragement, enthusiasm, a sense of getting in the outdoors. We're going to see people just want to get out of Denver and want to get out of El Paso County. I get it. It's going to be controlled, and we got to watch all the numbers and watch the what the medical profession are seeing in terms of whether the containment is contained. But boy, we have an open space. It's a great open space to have people come out and just get that sense of, wow, you know, things are okay again. So I think it could be a point of great hope for our city and for attract people up the mountain. And if we can get enough people who have contacts with types of events, it could be a really great summer.
Okay, well, I think that we need to do something to start stimulating, because I don't see anything coming from the city to get our business and economy going. So I think that we need to do something to jumpstart that. Now, like I said, this, as we've taken day by day, wherever we are when this is starting, if it needs to be moved back, if it needs to be rescheduled, whatever, that is a possibility. We realize that. So if we approve this today, we'll just start putting it together and see where it goes. So, is there any more comments on that? If not, could I ask for a motion to either approve or not?
So made.
Jan makes the motion to approve.
I'll second. I'll second.
Okay. Gary seconds the motion to approve, correct?
Yes.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Pass that to the committee.
Aye.
And we will keep the DDA board abreast. Would like to say, and I think this might be a time to throw this in. I had Al and Martha Hagedorn called me, and they want to donate some money to the city of Wood, to the community of Woodland Park, to help them through this crisis. And they didn't know where to go to donate to, that it would go to the people who really need it. And I told them that I would ask the DDA if they would be willing to accept those funds and help distribute it to the community where it's needed, whether that's in the cleanup, whether it's in promoting Woodland Park, whether it's in grants to help the businesses, whatever we can do, that's what they want to give this money for. Comments?
Mary Jo, I'm sorry, I didn't catch who was this, and how much are you talking about?
Well, he didn't say an amount. He wants to know where it's going to go and who's going to get it. It's Al and Martha Hagedorn. They've lived here their whole lives. The park's been good to them. They're citizens, and they can afford, and they want to see our town prosper, and they're concerned about the businesses that have been closed, and they're concerned about our little town.
Well, at the very least, please give them our appreciation for what their sentiments and all. And it doesn't seem like there really should be much of a discussion. Why wouldn't we want to accept that? You know, I don't know.
Well, I think that would be good, and I told him that should they give it to DDA to disperse, that we would keep track of where it goes, and he would know who received and for what.
Can we
How would
do
money
that?
be I'm sorry, Jerry.
No, go ahead.
How would that money be distributed?
We would decide that.
And would it need to be in another bank account, like a bank account by itself?
Well, that's what we would decide on. If we choose to steward this, we would decide how to manage it. First, we'll talk. If we choose to be the avenue that this money comes to and goes through, then I'll talk to Al, see how much it is, and we will figure out, several of us, on how we can manage it and then how we can disperse it for what needs to be done the worst. The most.
I think I'm in favor of this, Mary Jo, because then we can oversee who gets it instead of it being sucked up into a big corporation or the city, or I don't want it sucked up. I want it to actually go to the people that need it. So I am in favor of that.
I don't just see, so that's good. Okay, so is that a motion?
Sure.
Okay, so we have a motion to accept this donation from the Hagedorn to Stewart, that it goes to the community where it's needed the most, correct?
Yes.
Okay, a second.
Here I go. I'll second.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay, I will call out. I will contact the address.
Mary Jo?
Yes.
I have a small donation that was given to me for some masks that I gave someone, and he left me a small amount of money. And when you decide where that money is going to go, please let me know so I could give this to you in his name and then let him know that we did that.
Okay, that would be good. Now that brings up this issue. Do we want to put out there that we are accepting community donations to help jumpstart our community, our downtown businesses? Do we want to make it known that this is available for other citizens that might want to help get our town started again?
My opinion is that's a good idea.
More comments,
You know, like,
Gary?
well, like anything, once you start, you ever put a post on Facebook and it's a very innocent, good-natured something, and then all of a sudden you out from the woods come all these attackers. And I think we just need to be cautious about our approach on something like that. As innocent as it seems, I think you just have to tread lightly.
I just wanted to bring up a comment. I saw a comment by Kelly Case go across the bottom, mentioning that she thought, I don't know whether anyone else saw this on their screen, that it might be appropriate for nonprofits to have that money because also if being 501c3s, then it's tax deductible for the people. So unless we have a 501c3, but that's for the train car, isn't that correct?
It is, and we could run it through that 501c3. And
I think my opinion is that under the circumstances of this pandemic, that we could do that. It's not our role to do that, but this is an exception. So I'm in favor of this if everybody else is.
Tanner?
I would like to, can everybody, can you guys hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, I've seen some comments that the audio is garbled and that Mary Jo and I are particularly difficult to hear. So anyway, our foundation plan does say that we're to provide grants and other assistance to private enterprise. But it seems to me it absolutely is within our purview to accept private monies that are intended to benefit businesses within the district, and that we can make those monies available to private enterprise in the form of grants.
Okay, so this does fit within our foundation plan nicely. So we have a motion on the table, Jan, to accept this donation and manage it. Robert?
I'm again, I'm going to reiterate, I'm a newcomer to this, but my sense is that what Jerry has commented on is worthy of note. I think the public perception that I see of the DDA, we need to walk lightly. You need to walk lightly. We need to walk lightly. I think it's certainly my heart's desire to see a greater cooperation and understanding of the community instead of a lot of divisiveness around the DDA. So if you're asking for money, it's one thing to have money offered, like this couple, Hagethorns, have done. It's a whole nother thing to be putting out your hand and saying, we want help, or we need help to make this happen. I think that if the DDA can demonstrate they're doing stuff that benefits the city, let the reward come at the back end. That's just a newcomer's observation.
Robert, I don't feel like we would be asking for people to donate money. I feel that we would just be letting them know that if they're looking for a place where they could donate some money, this is another place they could do that. And we're trying to help the community. But I would not suggest that we reach out and ask people to donate to this. And I agree with you that far.
I'm going to tell you a story. When I was a young kid, my very first job, I worked at a hardware store. And the boss instructed us, he says, if we don't have it, I want you to tell the customer where they can find it somewhere else around town. And I would say, Jan, just in this matter, because of some of the feed comments that have come across the bottom, there are already organizations who are in place to do that. So let them do that. Just say, hey, you know what? Thanks for that, but let's put it towards this, which is doing that. So once again, I do think that you want to stay in your own lane.
I agree with you, Robert. You must have watched Miracle on 34th Street, where they told you you could go to Gimbel's and pick this up because they didn't have it. That's another option. That is another option.
All right, I'll be quiet.
No.
Well, that's good point. We do have a motion on the table. Jerry, did you second that? That we accept this donation and will make.
Sure. Let's second it.
I seconded it.
Great, Joe.
Comment? Yes.
Hey, real quick, I mean, have you spoken to your attorney about whether or not you would be the right legal entity to be the pass-through for this or not? I know your foundation plan says something, but the foundation plan also isn't in line with the statute. So just, my only recommendation is that before you pass this, that you speak with your attorney to make sure you're the right organization to do this. Using your nonprofit that's structured for your train to be a pass-through for donations, that the 501c3 wasn't structured to do that, to function as that for that purpose. So my only recommendation is before you pass or you accept the donation, is that you consult your attorney to make sure that would be an appropriate action. I'll stay out of that, but that's the only thing I would say.
Okay, good advice. Jan, would you amend that motion to accept these funds if it passed the test of our attorney?
Absolutely.
Would you second that one, Jerry?
I do, and it's good advice.
Okay. So with that in mind, that we accept it only on the pleasure of our attorney. Do I hear a motion, or do I hear in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay. That's passed. I will talk to Al. We will call Paul Benedetti and we'll make sure that we can do this and we do it properly.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mary Jo.
Moving on, the business support, the pressure washing. I have to say, I am very disappointed that the city, under the circumstances, and as filthy as our town is, that our city hasn't more than willing, with the new equipment that we have, to step up to the plate and wash the buildings down, wash the sidewalks, and wash as much of the street as we can to make our town cleaner and better for the community. And I would go to Tanner on this because he has been handling this pressure washing, and I would like to have you.
Well, I'm optimistic that we'll be able to work with the city. In our last placemaking partnership meeting that held via Zoom, there was some conversation about it, and although we haven't come to a definitive, conclusion as to how to work together between the private sector and the city to use that equipment and get the job done, I did sense that we're moving in that direction, and Darren and the city seem committed to finding a way, and I sure am committed to finding a way. So by golly, we're good. Now, I think the challenge we're going to that we really need to work to overcome is finding the resource to hire an independent pressure washing contractor that can clean private property and public property, without regard for where the property line is. The city, due to their restrictions, is not able to use their resources to clean private enterprise. The city can't use their resources to be of benefit to private business, and they certainly can't wash my building and not the one next door up the street or somewhere outside of our district. And so there was some discussion about the city being paid by private property owners to clean their buildings. There was some discussion about us hiring an independent contractor to clean buildings and the city right of way, and there was some discussion about just the city proceeding with cleaning downtown, which would then be limited to city property, unless we individually found work some sort of agreement with the city where we pay them to clean our building. So that's where it's at.
I definitely think they should be done together. You can't do one without the other. I mean, it's futile.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to clean buildings and not the city right of way, and it doesn't make any sense to clean the right of way without cleaning buildings. So the job needs to be done as one job, and so my suggestion is we look to independent contractors to do the work. The challenge then becomes funding. Who's going to pay for that? To ask businesses to pay, or property owners to pay their share for the cleaning of their building is fair. I think we'd have a number of businesses that property owners who may do that. Although at this time, economically, because of the shutdown and everything else, those resources are scarce. Businesses may not be in a position to fund something like pressure washing or store. Maybe.
Can I make a comment here?
Go to Jen.
Sure, yeah.
Go ahead, Jen.
I am outraged that the taxpayers paid $400,000 for this wonderful piece of equipment, and now we're going to ask them to pay to clean the front of their buildings. They've already paid for this machine. I am outraged at the idea that they are being asked and told that they can't use this machine for that.
All right. So I'll just, if I can, I'll chime in because we're getting a little out of bounds here. I've spoken to Tanner. All these comments aren't relevant, not real actually, because I'm absolutely in favor of using the new vac truck to assist in the power washing of the downtown area. We just need to work together with your power washing contractors so that we can capture the runoff and ensure that the Clean Water Act is abided by and all the things that need to occur. I'm not opposed to it. I never was. I don't know where this is even coming from. Quite frankly, it might have been a discussion, unfortunately, that I wasn't a part of, but I'm dedicated to working with our Public Works Department with the vac truck together so that we can get it done. I think it is needed, and so we're on board. Okay, so please, let's
Darren,
stop.
my comment was not aimed at you. I am more than willing to volunteer my time to go to these different businesses and building owners to get them to sign a release that if in fact there should be some damage to the building, that they're not going to sue the city for it. I will be more than happy to help you do that.
Well, that gets to a whole different situation, and
Of
I don't know
course it
that our city attorney would allow us to do the washing of the actual. I say it's a combined effort. I think. I really do think that's the case. We can't get ourselves in a position of liability where we may damage a business and then have to fund that. But I absolutely think the purpose of the truck is to assist with all of the city's right of ways, get those cleaned, work right next to the contractor. So as they're washing your side, we're capturing it, we're cleaning the sidewalks. It's all being done together and just coordinating it well and getting it done. Don't have any issue with that.
Hey, Darren, can I make a comment? Is that all right?
I'm sorry.
Mary Jo? I'd like to welcome Robert to the story here. But whatever is going on, I think we need to usher in a new era here. And I think that the city, both the council and the city staff and the DDA are all in it trying to accomplish the same thing. And I don't think we need this kind of adversarial approach. And I think we just need to stop and just get along, whatever is the best way to do. We're in it for the same reason, to serve the public and to make our town a better community. So, let's not attack each other. Let's work together. That's all.
Thank
Okay,
you, sir.
sounds like Tanner has some more to say. He still has the floor. We've interrupted him now 3 times.
No, that's all right. That's all right.
So what's the date? it
Completely
starts? Go
agree,
ahead.
and thank you very much, Darren, for your commitment to helping make this happen. I should have been more clear about that. You were committed to it at our last meeting, and so I'm excited. We are going to move forward. We're going to wash the dirt and the grime and the muck off of our downtown, and let's wash COVID down the drain and reopen this town, and get business fired up and see what we can do to have a prosperous and wonderful summer. So that said, in order to move forward with the pressure washing, we'll likely need to hire an independent contractor to wash at the very least the private properties that are that want to be cleaned. So we can approach that a couple of different ways. Ask each individual property owner whether they want their building cleaned, and if so, whether they can contribute funds to that. We can find other resources like the grant monies that are being offered to the DDA to help pay the cost. There may be some businesses downtown that can't afford to pay to have their property cleaned right now, but would benefit from the clean. And I would suggest that given the current circumstances, it would be very appropriate for the DDA to consider funding pressure washing of the storefronts downtown, any private property that we can get cleaned, we should. Whether the property owner or occupant of that property can afford it or not. I certainly wouldn't want to see a pressure washer going down the street and washing one building and then skipping the next. I think we can do better than that. We should do better than that. And it's not a real high cost now that the city has the equipment to capture that discharge and deal with it in a compliant manner. The rest of the work is relatively inexpensive. So to make things simpler at this otherwise somewhat complex time, I'd ask that we consider just funding whatever the cost of pressure washing properties downtown is. Let's just make it happen.
Is that a motion?
Well, no, I'd need to add some more parameters to make it a motion. If it's okay with the board, I'll see what I can do to take a couple of bids to clean downtown. I'll work with the city to see where they intend to clean, from where to where, and see what I can do to learn more about the actual cost of hiring a contractor to do that work, and to see if, I think I heard Darren say, coordinate different pressure washers, the city and their work with a contractor who's washing private property. And that may make sense. It may prove to be more efficient to just hire a contractor to wash everything, so that we don't have multiple contractors or a contractor out there with the city crews and multiple sets of equipment and all that going at the same time. I don't know. We need to work through those details. But as we do, and we will, regardless of what proves to be the best method for cleaning downtown, there will be costs. And I think the DDA can help with that and make sure it happens quickly, it happens right, and it happens whether property owners right now can afford it or not.
Okay. Well, can I ask you then, on behalf of the board, to put that together, time frame, the cost, with Darren, how this will happen, and get back with us as soon as possible.
Yep, I'd love to.
Even if it's through Corey and this notification.
I'm fine with that. And Darren, does that work for you? Can you and I work together? Do you want me to work with Kip? How do you suggest that we proceed?
I would ask you just to work directly with Kip. I've given Kip direction that we're in support. I know that there's going to be requirements for us to block off the road as we're doing this, so we might as well coordinate all together, because we're going to have to get permission from CDOT on as we go block to block and do this. So we need to be working closely together on it and just make it happen. The city supports it 100%.
Okay. Thank you then. Okay, then if there's no more discussion on pressure washing, we'll in good hands, we'll move on. This is community marketing. The little businesses have been targeted. Once again, the big box has been given all the advantages and the little businesses have been shut down. This is going to take some real comeback for our community. These are the people's livelihoods. This is not a play in the sandbox. Nice, can we do this, whatever. These are people's livelihoods we're talking about. They have not been taking in any money to pay any of their bills. So how can we jumpstart our community coming back through a marketing program? Do I hear any ideas?
Well, I think that Tanner getting the information together and then working with Darren, and maybe we can come up with something and present it to Benedetti to make sure that we could do that. I think that's a good idea, a place to start.
Okay, marketing. Do we want to look at any kind of idea throwing at how we can get the word out that when we do open, that we are open, and that we're welcoming Woodland people from Woodland Park with open arms, and we don't need to necessarily have sales. we just need to have good, friendly, down-home promotion and, you know,
Perhaps
cream
Main Street could help with that.
cotton candy and whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
perhaps Main Street could help with that.
If I can, Mary Jo, the comments are perfectly timed. We just had this discussion last week with the county, I think Main Street, Chamber of Commerce, the DDA. If we combine forces and funding to market together, I think it would be a lot more efficient and we could reach a lot more people. So getting a group together and combining our resources, I think is likely the best direction to go. We all have the same intent and goal to really kickstart our businesses back in the right direction once the stay-at-home order is lifted. And so if you're amenable to that as a board, I'd like to recommend that we work together as a working group together and pool our resources and just make a really efficient run on it.
Comments, more comments. Tanner?
It seems we'd benefit from moving on this sooner than later. The stay-at-home order's up on what, the 27th. Businesses, yeah, 26th. So business will begin to reopen. It's not yet clear exactly what that process will look like, the phasing and everything else. So it'd be nice to just let everything open back up and trust the good people of the community to be responsible. But it sounds like
Excuse me, Tanner, we can't hear you.
oh, I'm sorry. Is that better?
Way better.
Okay.
Good.
Sorry. Anyway, some businesses will begin reopening April 27th, I believe. It's not clear yet what the phasing will be like and the other restrictions and parameters around reopening the economy here. But regardless, April 27th is coming soon. To formulate some sort of collaborative marketing plan and combine resources and then execute the plan to take some time. So time is of the essence. I think we want to move sooner than later on this. And so how do we get started? Darren, I have no objection to what Darren proposed. Working with the chamber, working with Main Street, working with the county, the city, whomever. That's great. But we need to get that going and see what the marketing plan looks like. See if it will indeed work for our district so that we can justify participation in it, right? And then what's the level of participation? Does anyone have ideas for what type of marketing would be beneficial?
I would say that Facebook and the internet and Twitter, I would say that would be the best at this time. We could put some kind of a program together to start there because it's still kind of iffy to buy advertising. So we could at least start there that we will be open, these things will be happening. This is going to be the big day and set a time and ask people to be open and have the hall monitors. Please stay home and quit reporting everybody that they think shouldn't be open and let it happen and trust that the business people are smart enough to protect themselves and their customers. Now, to do that, there needs to be some dialogue on who, what, when, and where, and I think that should happen this week. Any comments?
Well, I just want to comment that I think Main Street does have a really good promotions committee with Lynn Jones and Nicole Randolph, myself, and maybe people's Facebook pages, the DDA's Facebook page, things of this nature.
I think that's a good start.
Uh-huh.
Any more
Right.
comments on that? Robert?
Well, Mary Jo, what I see here is that what's going to help with the marketing is for the DDA to deliver on two topics that have come up here this morning in the conversation. And that is a timeline for when the project will be started and completed on pressure washing downtown to give the facelift to the look, so that when the photographers come in to take a picture, it looks like awesome. I do know in a separate conversation with the city manager that flowers are also on their way to put in place. So those are a couple of things that need to be done pre-launch of, you know, attracting people up the mountain. And then the third one is if all the steps are going to go forward on the on the land, then what's that look like? Are we looking like that in the next week, the next 2 weeks? What's kind of the target date to complete that? And then who wants to volunteer for what to make those separate actions happen? Then we are in time for the marketing arm, which is working kind of hand in hand with it.
Good point. Good point. Any other comments? George, you got any comments?
If it's not out of place, just sitting here as a third party, I'm hearing that you may have the idea that the whole world down here in Colorado Springs is wondering, when is it safe to go out? When is it safe to go to Woodland Park? When is it safe to try to go to the mountains? When you're talking, and someone there, and I don't know who said it a while ago, I think you spawned my thinking when you said we're washing the virus out and we're open for business. And I think you almost have with a lot of volunteers helping to coordinate this, you've got a concept that I haven't seen any other city in the United States say, we're open for business. And we're going to do that by starting on this day with volunteers and youth groups. And yes, the city's going to do their part and coordinate that part. And we're going to start at this end of the street and go to that end. But if you're a small business and you're broke and you can't hire part of the private contractor to do their part, some will come and volunteer to do it. So a youth group will say, we'll take that block or that house or that corner. But at the same time, maybe get a commitment from the business to say, we're going to go inside. We're going to scrub the restrooms. We're going to scrub every surface. In other words, the idea is we're throwing this virus out of Woodland Park. And we're putting in safe measures of distancing and mask and whatever. That's something that some young reporter at KOAA or whatever could jump on and put you on the TV, be there filming it. Maybe at the end of the day, you put up a sign that says Woodland Park's open for business, but you could accomplish the cleaning up with this concept of throwing the virus out. And now we're all open for business. We've cleaned inside as best we can. Maybe we've touched up paint in our stores, put up signs saying, welcome back to the mountains, and make it an eventful day. Perhaps even get the young people that are sitting around with nothing to do that are incredible with SEO and optimization and internet work to do some videos and get it out on the, and this is something that the whole world could go viral without a huge amount of work that you're already going to do anyway to get the streets washed.
Sure. Good
So
idea.
you already got the concept of what you're, I loved it when you said, we're going to wash this thing down and get the virus out of town. That concept could be explosive as a theme if caught on for the same work you're doing anyway. Clean it inside, clean it outside, touch up the paint. It might even become, I've heard this issue come up on just the few times over the years that I've been involved. How do we do it and when do we do it and how do we clean it? And we need to clean it. Maybe it could be an annual event that Woodland Park scrubs up and washes up, and we're open for business every year on this day.
Good
Coordinate with
idea.
the cleanup.
And maybe, maybe your local restaurants, I know they're all struggling, but they're saying, well, we'll have $1 taco and McDonald's will have $1 drink, and anybody comes up here, there's some really good deals. Just come on back and find your way back to my front door, as McDonald's said years ago. Once they come in the door and they see that you're distancing and the town's getting scrubbed up and makes all the difference in the world when Sandy and I decide, let's go somewhere. We're going crazy sitting here. Where can we go? Well, Woollen Park has put a stamp on their brand saying, as best as we can, we're virus free. We're cleaning the town up, we're scrubbing her down, and we're ready for business.
Good idea. Good idea.
Mary Jo, if you don't mind, I just want to structure the conversation for the marketing. I don't believe, based on what we heard last night from the governor, that we will have a complete opening for all businesses at the same time. I just want to make sure that there will likely be an incremental process. That's the way I see it. There's a process for us that we'll need. We have our own input that we're providing to the county. We may need to look for the county to provide a waiver request to the state. There's going to be some incremental process. So just want to make sure if you're developing some kind of marketing plan, people aren't disappointed. If you say we're open for business and you only have, 50, 55, or I think they're talking about 65% social distancing is the goal that they're trying to achieve. Still trying to figure out what that truly means. But I just want to make sure you understand that I don't perceive there being 100% opening for everything at once.
So can you help us with that with the city? And then even
I can. I mean, I'll do what I can based on what information we have right now. It's a moving target. That's the problem. And we try to establish policy or create policy, and then the governor comes out with something new the next day. So it's it can be, but what my understanding is that it won't be all together at 100%. Just so that you're aware.
okay.
Well, Mary Jo, I want to weigh in on that as well. I think that there's going to be a constitutional issue if the governor tries to do something outside of his own purview, and his purview is schools, government offices. But I think if he tries to pick winners and losers of business people, it'll be a firestorm. So I'd bear that in mind.
Thank you, Robert. I appreciate you saying that because it's true. Tanner?
Is this a topic that we're willing to discuss and maybe take a position on? We are, after all, the Downtown Development Authority, charged with, promoting the health, prosperity, and welfare of the district. And at the time, under government regulations that are impeding those goals, it seems that appropriate to me that maybe we take a position on it and advocate for something. What is in the best interest of the district? Some think that is to remain closed. Some think that that's to open some businesses and not others. That some think that that's to require social distancing measures with specific details like 6 feet and wear masks and other things. And I don't know. Do we have any thought on it, or can we take a position as a body? And I'll just start on that. I think we can, and I think it is to advocate for 100% openness as soon as possible, and trust the good people of the community to make decisions that are in their best interest, and to trust the businesses of the community to make decisions that are in their best interest. I don't think anybody wants to catch this thing. I don't think anybody wants to give it to anybody else. I think we're smart enough and capable enough to manage the risks if allowed to do so. And I think if allowed to do so, gives our economy the best chance of recovering faster, better, sooner than any other scenario. So does that make any sense?
I think it does, and I agree with Tanner. More discussion.
Yeah, if I can, I want to be clear. The city, when we talk about the city and the discussion here, I'm not saying that the city is opposed to it. I think we're going to see whether we have a perception or not. You've got great advocates on city council. I will tell you that. Robert is one of them in terms of 100% opening. You have that. I think you still have an obstacle with the state. whether we do that or not. I mean, you have the 10th Amendment. In terms of federalism, the state public health authority does have authority over our businesses, unfortunately. And so whatever waiver we put up to the state can potentially be denied. What my point is that we support the city council. From last night, my discussion with them, I felt generally supported it, but we still have to work with the county and the state in terms of how it is ultimately opened for business. There's going to be restrictions. I don't know what they're going to be, despite what we feel is the best way forward. I'm just trying to be a realist. I'm sorry.
Totally understand and agree with you, Darren, and thanks to the council for advocating on our behalf. I guess as a body, knowing similar to the sales tax vendor fee, the business license fee, we don't have any authority over it. We have the DDA has no police powers. We can't enforce regulations of the state or the county or anybody else. The city has a police department. The city will choose, via the council and direction to the staff, as to how they go about dealing with this, right? Will there be any enforcement of whatever those regulations are? And do we want to have a position on that? Can we officially side with the council if that's their position, that we support putting good information out there, and that's it? No enforcement of anything. We're not going to, we're asking that the city of Woodland Park does not adopt any new policies that are restrictive, and rather maintains an open for business posture and advocates that to the county and the state.
I think that sounds good. We're Woodland Park. We're not Colorado Springs or Denver. We're not highly densely populated. A lot of our little stores, we don't have more than 3-4 people in them at a time anyway. I mean, we are separate from the rest of the state. I know when you go out east in the little farming communities, nothing has changed out there. Nobody enforces anything. They're all cautious. They just have gone on like nothing has happened. And I know that because we were out there. So I think that we can take more of a stand than probably the city can. And I would like to see us do that. And I'd like to see the support from our city as well as our county to do that. Again, we're talking about people's livelihoods. We're not talking about a recreational or part-time activity.
I don't think it hurts to make a recommendation or request support from the county commissioners. I think the county commissioners is where your focus would be. I think you do have the support of the city council in that direction, but you're going to ultimately have the public health authority issues that you'll have to overcome. So my recommendations is maybe even address both. I think you do have support of city council for our local businesses, but I think your focus primarily should be with the county commissioners.
Okay, I would like to suggest, because we could talk about this forever, I would like to suggest, if it's to the pleasure of the board, that Robert, Tanner, and myself work on this and work with the city and the county to try to set a time when we can all open, even if it's for a weekend. That's better than nothing. So I would like to ask that the board would approve that the three of us work together.
Well, Mary Jo, can I make a comment in this?
Sure.
I think we don't want to lose sight of what George expressed. It's like we don't want to lose sight of what George expressed as the vision, the passion, the enthusiasm, the community building of what that is. And whether that launch date is May the 4th or whether that launch date is May 15th, whatever that launch date is, I think we still need to focus without holding our breath waiting for Mother, may I please go out and play. but we go, okay, we recognize that there is a launch date and let's just work towards it. You know, let's put all the enthusiasm behind it, because you're not going to get the enthusiasm if you're waiting for Mother May I. You want to get out there and make it happen.
Good point. Ellen, you got something to say?
Let's see. Yes, I do. I just would like to point out that we have both a Main Street Cleanup Day and a citywide cleanup day. I think it's June 5th for the Main Street, and I believe it is very close to that for the next, for the citywide. So that's the first week of June. So we may want to be making sure of what those dates are. I'm not sure, Jan, if you know exactly what they are. I don't have my paperwork right here with me. But
Citywide cleanup is June 6th, and I believe that the mini cleanup has been changed to, I think it's May 29. I'm not sure, but it has been changed earlier in May.
I think those dates are realistic are for us to aim for. And of course, we already have cleanups scheduled. That's what I just wanted to note.
Good point. I think that those are very important because they'll be needed at that time too. But the businesses can't wait that long. They have to have some kind of income coming in before that. Any more comments on this?
Hey, Joe?
Yes.
I feel like I'm saying too much. Again, just as an outsider looking in, I understand all that's being said about, is there the permission from the top down to reopen? But I'm sitting down here and I get the paper. I didn't read it when I brought it in, and I wish I had to show you. But the Colorado Springs Gazette headline says, Governor opens up state on Monday. Now, that's probably a grabbing headline. It probably inside it's got a lot of the details and the legalities that we're talking about. But I can tell you right now, come Monday, I'm gassing up my car with some cheap gas, and I'm getting the heck out of my house with a mask on, with distancing, and me and about 500,000 other people down here at the bottom of the hill are coming to the mountains. You happen to be on a major highway, and we're coming through your town. And, you know, they say the way to catch an elephant is you can run along behind it and take a bite, or you can get out in front of it and dig a great big hole and watch it fall in. The elephant is coming, probably more so than you've ever seen before, not waiting for the perfect weather, the perfect day, the perfect invitation, the perfect marketing strategy. People are going to get the heck out of their house. I've done some of that by driving around just when I was about ready to go crazy. I'm tired of driving around the neighborhood. I'm driving over to the one park where nobody is that I can walk around a little lake. I'm ready to go put my feet in a real stream in the real mountains of Colorado, which is why I moved here. And there's thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands, and probably as soon as they're allowed, people in Kansas and Flatlanders that are going to say the same thing. This year, we're taking a cheap vacation and we're going to go see God's country. You're sitting right there on the path, and I don't know how you grab them or get them to come in and buy a cowboy hat, Mary Jo, or put a piece of furniture on top of their car and take home, Tanner. But people are desperate, as we see on TV, to get the heck out of Dodge and go somewhere. Here, that appeal, that draw is the mountains. That's where you are. You're the gateway. They're coming anyway. They're going to drive right through, or they're going to stop and buy something if there's anything to buy.
George, this is Jan, George. Underneath that headline, it does say, Governor outlines first phase for reopening the state, but cautioned rules could return if cases spike again.
But nobody will read that second part.
Probably not, but I'm just sharing that.
I'm telling you.
You know,
We all listen to the control of the government and watch what they say we can and can't do. Just what's happening in other states of people bombarding the state capitol when they say they're going to go and be in their car, but they're getting out on the street. People are going to come. When they think they're released, they're coming.
I have exactly about the retail stores. It says retail stores will be able to reopen for curbside delivery and phased in public opening with strict precautions.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, so it's coming. I think George is right. Robert, I liked your yay. I think that we should move forward with the discussions on this and followed by the cleaning. I think that we should stay on this day by day. Robert, are you willing to do that with me and with Tanner?
Absolutely.
Is that good with the board? And as we move through and these things start coming out, we will let the board know what's happening. Is that good?
I think that's a good thing, but as Darren said, the health group has more authority than anything, and if they say no, we have to abide by that. So we just take it on a day-by-day basis and we give it a try. If it works, great. If it doesn't, we have to try another option.
The bottom line is that they're just trying to prevent another spike. And so if there is a spike, people disregard completely, we'll be back in a stay at home again. And so I think they're trying, I think that's the concern. But I think everybody wants to get out of their house. Every business wants to reopen. Everybody wants to get back to socializing and, take advantage of the freedoms that we have in this country. There's going to be some concern if people are completely, I think from the state level, people completely disregard the safety of others. So
Can I mention that as long as you're approaching it for the right reasons, guys, I don't want the DDA to be a political statement. It should be concern out of the businesses. And honestly, I think whatever is the right thing is what we should be doing, not what is politically desirable. But at this time, it's much bigger than all that. And we need to just look after each other and not necessarily out there to pound our fist and make a political statement. I don't want to see the board used in that manner.
I would like to, bureaucracy does not override common sense. That's what I would like to see, that we all continue to work together. Any more comments? If not, we will go to general discussion. Does anybody have any general discussion that they would like to talk about?
I do.
Jerry?
Well, I see down here on my screen, Michael Williams' name, but is this guy for real? I mean, I've never seen him, never heard his voice. Does he really exist? That's my general discussion.
I talked to Mike the day before yesterday. We had a nice chat, and I said, Michael, we want to touch you. Come out here so we can touch you. He laughed at that, and he said he does have plans on coming, and I don't know if George has got any to add to that or not. Is he coming?
Well, obviously, the pandemic has shut a lot of things down. Mike was planning a trip here, still is. I don't want to speak out of turn for him, but the dream, the vision, the drawings, working with Tanner and the committee, those have all moved forward as much as possible. The virus has kind of stopped that communication as everybody's trying to figure out how to survive. But I think in that meantime, without speaking too far out of school, but a partner has come forward that is very much considering partnering with him. This economics has had an impact on that, but this is a very substantial person that would just add a lot more flavor and speed and experience. I'm not sure if that's going to work out now that the pandemic has come along, but we just need the doors to open and get back to from where we were to moving forward. He's very real. He very much wants to make this happen, and I think he sees a clear path now with the work that's been done with the DDA for it to happen. And it's just a shame that can't be face-to-face, but hopefully that can be soon.
Thank you, George. I think that's what I heard from him too.
Yeah, there's no backing off at all other than what's being prevented just because of the rules and regulations. But I mean, he like many of all of us, has a business, several businesses that are in the food area that Starbucks closed, he's still open. And him and the donut place are the only ones in one town that are still serving coffee. And he's, so all of that's having a financial impact on him, but short term, I think not in a way that it could prevent what he's trying to do here. I mean,
Thank you.
they're still at the door, at the threshold, trying to come in.
Ellen, Robert, do you have anything to say? Ellen?
I just have a brief announcement. I am a member of several nonprofits, including the Chamber, Adoptable Animal Rescue Force, and UPass Symphony Guild. We're not sure whether we'll be having the July 5th concert. We're keeping our fingers crossed, but we're part of a group called the Nonprofit Cooperative of Teller County. And this group is participating in a global fundraising campaign called Global Tuesday. It's May 5th. So you can go online and give to, I think there are 15 to 20 nonprofits who are members of this co-op. And you can give money to those nonprofits who certainly need the donations. Global Tuesday, May 5th. So that's my announcement. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. Robert, do you have anything?
Well, firstly, thank you all for welcoming onto the DDA. I have a perception, and I just want to float it out there. I heard during campaigning that there were some who were screaming to have the DDA closed, making it their purpose to close the DDA. I have, the impression that I get is the community doesn't truly understand what it takes to make the DDA work and how it functions and how it's a benefit to the community. So I have a thought. Prior to the election, I actually sat down with Tanner, and he spent a great deal of time explaining to me what the DDA's function is, some of the complexities, the history, the mud. And I thought, what if we were to get each of you who have a seasoned understanding of the DDA, what if we did a little interview on the camera and presented it to the community so that they could better understand the purpose of the DDA, the benefit of the DDA, even the problems. If you want to talk about those, that's fine too. But I think that if some of that was done, it could go a long way into healing some of this. Seems what I heard Jerry say earlier was this combative attitude that's there. I think if we could dissolve a lot of that with just some conversation. So I just put it out there. Would any of you be interested and willing in doing something like that?
I think that's a great idea. Tanner?
I love it. Absolutely. Absolutely love it. I think part of the biggest problem that we face is public perception.
It is.
It's been used against us, and anything we can do to help inform the citizens and be transparent and provide some information and maybe education, I think would be beneficial.
Great. I think that's a great idea.
And, I've got, well, there's been forces that have kind of, it was in their interest to portray us in a bad light. And that's been going on for some time now. So my encouragement to you, Robert, is that you help from your end portray us more accurately. I think once we start getting better support from the rest of the city, I think we can change that. Honestly, there's been a smear campaign directed at the DDA, and I think if we all just stop and start working together, we can right that. So my 2 cents.
Robert, Jan,
Yes.
you have a comment on that?
I was just messaging Robert. I agree with what he said, and I'm thinking that maybe we should do resurrect the newsletter again. It goes in the paper. It gets on our website, and it's also available for anybody to pick up at City Hall. And perhaps we should do that also. It's rather disheartening to have people that don't come to a meeting, don't participate, or really hear what's going on, and they just reiterate garbage is what it is, and they really don't understand. And maybe that's another way to get the word out, in addition to Robert's suggestion, which I thought was excellent.
Okay, good deal.
So Jan and Jerry, would you be willing to sit down with me over a camera and just tell your part of the story? Same-
Absolutely, Robert, absolutely. Jerry, how about you?
Yeah, but I need a script. All right. So yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
well, you're not alone.
I was just thinking of, hey, you know, I'm new to the understanding of this, and each of you have a body of understanding. Just tell me, just tell me what you know. It's not even, I don't mean so much a script as much as what do you see from your eyes, and we'll just talk about the history and the benefits of it. And
Yeah, absolutely. I just so you know, there was before I became on the DDA, I shared similar sentiments to what's going on right now, and we've changed things. We've changed things a lot, and yet we're still the people are not reporting it accurately. There's always a slant now. So I think that we can, it has changed, and I'll start with that. But yes, there's a whole big story to tell.
Then Robert, can we put that in your hands and you will lead this charge forward?
say that again.
That you will take this and run with it and get this set up and get it done?
Well, no, it's a team effort. I would need somebody who knows how to work a camera. I'd be willing for each one of you to do it, but I'm certainly willing to participate, to contribute to presenting our community and a vision for our community in a positive way. And I think this whole rancor around the DDA is just one of those hiccups, one of those areas that, as Jerry said earlier, we just need to move past this. We need to cooperate. We need to cooperate between the business owners, between the city employees, the city council, and make this. I mean, I just see great things for Woodland Park, and we can't be sitting in the old and just being filled with grudges and stuff, because that doesn't help anybody.
You're right, Robert, and I'm not the person to run the camera because I've got all I can do to get on this computer.
Yeah, I get. That's why I didn't volunteer for that part.
Anna's really good at this.
Derek's got a comment as well. Go ahead, Derek.
Well, I don't want to. I guess I'm the technical. I provide the bad news. I guess is Robert. You are a board member, and so if there's three of you together, every time you get together, it's going to be a public meeting. So just remember that piece. You'll have a quorum, so you just got to be careful if you're going to do that. It's just I don't want DDA running awry of public meeting violations. So it's just important that you.
Oh, so this is the same as it is for council. Is that what you're telling me?
You're a member of the board. You are.
Oh, I am. See, I didn't know that. I thought I was just a liaison. So somebody needs to explain that to me. I don't need to be ignorant.
That's what I'm here for, Robert. Sorry. So I don't mean to be the wrong. Give the bad news, but you.
So I'm a member of the vote. Does that mean I get a vote on DDA as well?
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
Oh, all right. Well, I didn't vote on any of the other stuff. I was just watching. So, all right. So very good. So then I don't have a problem with that. So Mary Jo, I guess what that means is, so whatever the protocols are, whenever we do a filming, well, if there's two of us, it's not a problem. But if there's more, just make an announcement. Say DDA is going to do a film shooting at such and such a time at such and such a place, and come on down. yell and scream if you want. Cooperate if you don't.
Yeah, we'll manage it. We'll set times and such. We'll manage it.
All right.
Tanner's got something to say.
Well, there are quite a few comments from others participating in the meeting, so I wanted
Okay.
to make sure we address all that.
Sure, so that it's recorded.
And also, I figured I would start with Jerry's question, is Mike Williams real? And tie that into Sally Riley's question, what is the status of Woodland Station development project? As far as I know, he's real, Jerry. I've never met him, but my computer tells me he's attending and watching. So hi, Mike. Look forward to meeting you. He did send me an email recently saying that he was in the process of working on the TIF application that the board has asked about, and has a good possibility for a strong partner with extensive experience in entertainment and food service to expedite phasing things at Woodland Station. So as far as the status of the project, we have, well, the board saw as the public saw a draft of the conceptual site plan from NES. There are a number of changes to that last draft that have gone to NES, and hopefully sooner than later we'll have a revised drawing that will be even closer to, if not final, in representing the concept adequately to move forward through the process. So that's something. In fact, Sally, if you're watching still, I will give you a call and follow up with some information in email to make sure you have the latest documentation, and talk to you about what the changes are that we've asked for, and make sure you're up to speed with that. So let's see what else we have here. Suzanne LeClaire has said, hi, Mary Jo. I wanted to remind the DDA that you will have 3 open seats as of June 30. Ellen, Jerry, and Murph terms expire. Please let me know when you would like to start advertising these positions. So is there any
I would,
response to that?
yes, I would assume that we will start advertising however the regulations say. What is it, 2 weeks before, 30 days prior, whatever the regulation is, that's when we'll start advertising. Correct? Is that good with the board?
Can the 3 of them put in for to renew their positions again?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And it's open to the public too, so.
Absolutely.
No, well, I guess on that, just the detail, there are qualifications that applicants must meet in order to, for their application to be valid. In addition to the individual qualifications required by state law, there is something of like a collective qualification that at no time at all times, the majority of the board members must reside in or own property in the district. So that's something that the city will have to consider. When you say it's open to the public, it is, but there are qualifications.
Thank you for the correction.
Will apply.
Yes.
So let's see. Moving on. Kelly said, conversation should be done public and not in messaging or chat during the meeting. I think she's referring to some of the sidebar comments that have been going on. Sally has an awesome presentation of the history of DDA. Robert should contact Sally. It's from an anonymous attendee. That's a great point. And I do have a copy of that, so I can send that to Robert, and then maybe we can ask Sally for a little bit of her time to run through that, or we can just replay the recording from the meeting where it was presented if Robert's interested in seeing that history.
On that note, I think that all the new council members should be briefed on that. So Robert, if you set that up with Sally, all the new councilmen should hear that, because it is good. They'll understand DDA better.
Okay.
Earlier on, looks like Mayor Pro Tem Hillary LaBarre, the chat is disabled for her. She recommends business owners email or contact the commissioners who have decision-making power in opening our county for business. City Council supports the opening of our businesses, but we have no power over it. Commissioners are the appropriate avenue for this discussion. And anonymous attendee says, what changes is Jerry Good talking about?
Okay.
Jerry, any
You wanna
further
explain?
elaboration on that?
What changes were you talking about, Jerry?
Well, I think I need something to film later, so I'll reserve those when Robert and I sit down and talk, and rather talk in front of somebody that isn't anonymous. Thanks.
Okay. Anything else, Tanner?
Well, you know, I think maybe I missed a reminder I meant to give the board that we still have a request to approve or deny, decide on the first phase building at Woodland Station, the one in the northeast corner of Lot 2, frame head style, 40-foot tall, give or take. We need to be considering that, and probably sooner rather than later have a decision as to whether that's going to be approved or not. We had talked about floating some balloons or otherwise, you know, doing something on site at the property to physically represent the height of that proposed structures, and having holding a meeting on site at the property so that the board could understand better the impacts on the view corridor for the purpose of making the decision. So I know we've all been very distracted. It's been hard to you know, think about these things with everything else that's been going on. But now that we've somewhat successfully held our first virtual meeting, so maybe we're back in the saddle,
Yeah, well, I
and
hope
need
so
to pick
soon.
up the ball where we left it.
Well,
And
did you say, Tanner, that there was some new design out too that had a little variation to that? Should everybody get that, and then we talk about?
there's a new drawing coming. I haven't
Okay.
spoken with John at NES in a little while, but I'll make a point of calling him later today and see where we're at. But what's coming next. Now, in that drawing, I don't expect the phase 1 building to be changed. I don't think it's moving. I don't think it's changing in any size, shape, or anything else. So that's the request to consider that is still
But how will that fit in with all the rest with the new
right.
design? So that would be the question on that, is how will it fit in?
Mary Jo,
Yes.
I just clicked on chat, and
Yes.
Michael has been commenting throughout the conversation. So he is in the meeting, and he said things way back like the trees are a great idea down by the mobile home park. He said, I think I can get the CARES students to maybe participate in the overall cleanup downtown. And then at the end, he said, just a minute ago, I thought I had my microphone fixed and I'm trying to reply. So you can't hear his voice because his microphone's not working, but he's very much involved in the meeting and commenting all the way through it. I just scanned through, and those are the ones I picked up right away, but he's been trying to be part of the conversation throughout, but he's just in the chat.
Okay, well, we're anxious to see him, hear him, to be a part of it. I guess on this issue, I would say we need to be thinking about it, but we need to see the newest drawings to see how that particular building and tower will fit in, and then set up a time to do the balloons when we have time, when we can get out and things are functioning again, I guess. So does that answer that question? Can we do that? What do you guys okay? My response to your question was, let's try to set up a time for the balloons and see the new plans, the newest plan, to see how that building will fit in with the new ideas coming in, and then have a deeper discussion about it. Would that work for the board? I hear Yed not. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I was muted.
moving forward.
Okay. Nick, did we lose Nick?
Yes, and he sent me a text
Okay.
to say he had lost his audio. He was going to try and reboot his machine. He had currently tried that, then said he was completely kicked off. He's really sorry, and to apologize for him. He's not sure what happened.
Okay. All right. Well, is there any more comments about this or anything else we need to talk to? It looks like we've gone on to the audience participation through Tanner's comments and through George's comments. Is there anything else that needs to be said? If not, I would ask for a motion to adjourn. No more comments?
So, motion so made.
Okay,
Second.
and a second?
Second with Ellen.
And Ellen is seconded, and we will try to have discussion. This is discussion. Our next meeting we'll try to have at our scheduled May meeting. I have no idea. It will probably be canceled and moved out.
There is one other thing. I'm sorry.
Okay, this is still discussion then before we adjourn.
Yeah, well, I'm just really new to this Zoom software. I see somebody has a hand up. It says Pat Hill. I'm not sure how to chat.
Tanner, I let her talk if she wants to talk, if she has a question. There you go. Pat. Pat, you can talk now.
Pat, do you have a question? Pat? I guess we don't have her. Sorry. Okay, well, we have a motion on the floor to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion's adjourned. Thank you. We have made history, our first virtual meeting. So
And
anyway,
I had coffee ready for everybody, but unfortunately I drank it myself.
well, thank you all for participating. We will stay in touch. Bye.
Bye.